She thought he was her blind date, so she kissed him. And the billionaire didn't want it to end. It was supposed to be a blind date, but that one mistake sparked something real. And now, a billionaire with a guarded heart doesn't want to let her go. But what happens when secrets come to light, and love is no longer enough to hide behind? Before we continue, if you enjoy touching and inspiring stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Now, let's get back to the story. The cafe buzzed with quiet laughter, the clink of porcelain cups, and the low hum of music. All the usual signs of a normal Wednesday afternoon in downtown Seattle. But for him, this day was anything but normal. Sitting by the window, dressed in tailored simplicity, charcoal slacks, a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled just enough to show arms that had seen both gym and grief, Adrian Cole was lost in thought. His black hair swept to the side, cheekbones sharp like his jawline, and those piercing gray eyes, always scanning, always guarded, like someone who had everything, except the one thing he didn't believe in: love. Then it happened. A woman walked straight up to his table. No hesitation, no uncertainty. Her steps were confident, her face radiant, cheeks flushed, lips painted with the softest rose, and eyes? A caramel warmth that almost hurt to look at. And without a single word, she kissed him. Not a peck, not a dramatic movie kiss, just a kiss. Gentle, surprising, real, the kind of kiss that whispered, "I've been waiting for you." When she finally pulled back, blinking, smiling nervously, she whispered, "You're Alex, right? My date?" He could have corrected her. He should have. But something in him froze, or maybe thawed. For the first time in years, the world around him faded. His past, his billions, the headlines about his cold demeanor, his broken engagement years ago. None of it mattered, because she kissed him, and he didn't want it to end. Her name was Ella Carter, 27, a freelance illustrator who still lived with her younger sister and took odd jobs designing wedding invitations and children's books. The kind of woman who never expected grand gestures or fairy tales. Just someone kind, honest, maybe a little charming. She was also, unfortunately, running 15 minutes late and out of breath when she spotted a man exactly where her date had said he'd be. By the corner window, with a book and a coffee, wearing white. "I'm so sorry I'm late," she said, between soft laughter and nerves. And then she leaned in and kissed him. It had felt impulsive, but also like something she'd regret if she didn't do. Because that kiss, it felt right. But now she was sitting across from him, her smile slowly fading as confusion crept into her eyes. "You're not Alex, are you?" she whispered. Color draining from her face. Adrian tilted his head, then finally smiled. The kind of slow, warm smile that made her heart stop and her stomach twist. "No," he said softly, "but I really hope you don't walk away." Ella covered her face, groaning. "Oh my God! I just kissed a total stranger. This is so embarrassing." "Hey," Adrian said gently, leaning forward. "I didn't stop you." She peeked through her fingers, eyes narrowing. "Yeah, why didn't you stop me?" He paused, then shrugged like the truth would be too heavy out loud. Because it was the first time in a long time that something didn't feel empty. Ella blinked. "What do you do?" she asked, trying to distract herself. "Consulting," he said quickly, which was technically true. If you considered being the CEO of one of the largest tech empires consulting. She raised an eyebrow. "That's vague." He grinned. "So is freelance illustration." Her jaw dropped. How did you—" "Your bag," he nodded, eyes scanning. "Sketches. Looks like a children's book?" Ella tilted her head. "Okay, that's creepy or impressive. Haven't decided yet." They laughed, genuinely. But just then, she looked at her phone. A text from the real Alex. "Sorry, stuck in traffic. Be there in 5. "Oh no," she murmured, standing abruptly. "I have to go. My actual date is almost here." Adrian stood too, feeling a tightness in his chest that made no sense for someone he just met. "Wait," he said, almost too fast. "Do you believe in second chances?" Ella hesitated, then smiled. Only when the first one wasn't a total disaster. Their eyes locked, and then she was gone, brushing past tables, out the glass doors, disappearing back into the world. Adrian sat down, but something inside him wouldn't settle. Not because she left, but because she almost stayed. That night, Adrian stood alone in his penthouse, overlooking the skyline, floor-to-ceiling glass, hardwood floors, a home that felt more like a showroom than a life. But all he could see was her. The way she laughed, the warmth in her voice, the fact that she kissed a total stranger and then apologized like it was her fault. He pulled up a contact on his phone. Julian, private security. He hesitated, then typed, "I need a name. Ella Carter, approx. 27, lives in Seattle, illustrator, find her." He stared at the message, then deleted it. Instead, he whispered to himself, "If fate wants me to see her again, it'll happen." He didn't know that fate was already moving, because Ella? She couldn't stop thinking about him either. Not Alex, who turned out to be dull, glued to his phone, and late for every question she asked. No. Her mind kept going back to him. The stranger with sad eyes and a mysterious smile. The man who didn't stop her from kissing him. The man who looked like he needed that kiss more than she did. 3 days later, Ella's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text. "I don't know if you believe in coincidences, but there's a cafe on 3rd Street. Same corner table. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. No pressure." The not Alex guy. She stared at the message. Her heart pounded. She hadn't given him her number. So how did he— Her fingers hovered over the screen, and without fully knowing why, she smiled. Ella arrived 5 minutes early. She never arrived early. Not for interviews, not for birthdays, and definitely not for second chances with strangers who had kissed her back without saying a word. But there she was, standing outside the cafe, heart racing, stomach fluttering like a teenager on her first crush. Part of her knew she should walk away. He was mysterious, unpredictable, and maybe, just maybe, a little too perfect. But another part? The one that remembered the way he looked at her like she wasn't just another face in the world. That part had already decided. She stepped inside. He was there, exactly where he said he'd be. Same table, same white shirt, same quiet presence that somehow made the whole place fade. This time, she didn't kiss him. She sat down, smiled nervously, and said, "Hi." Adrian looked up from his coffee and returned the smile, slower this time, warmer, like he'd been holding his breath since she left. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said. "I wasn't either," she admitted. They looked at each other, and for a moment, the silence wasn't awkward. It was heavy, full of all the things they hadn't said yet. "Okay," Ella said suddenly, sitting up straighter. "Before we get into anything, I need to ask you something." He nodded. "Go ahead. How did you get my number?" Adrian didn't blink. "I asked the cafe manager. You made a reservation last time under your name. may have called pretending to be a friend who lost your contact." She raised an eyebrow. "That's either extremely sweet or mildly alarming." "I hoped for sweet." Ella crossed her arms, pretending to think. "You're lucky I'm a romantic." He smiled, then looked down, gently tapping the table. "I just couldn't stop thinking about you." There was something in his voice. Honest. Almost vulnerable. Ella looked away for a second, suddenly nervous again. "You don't even know me." "I know you kissed a stranger because you thought he might be worth it." She laughed. "I kissed a stranger because I'm impulsive and apparently terrible at identifying faces." "Still," Adrian said, "that moment, it meant something to me." Ella felt her breath catch just a little. She hadn't expected this. She thought maybe it would be a joke, or a cute story they could laugh about and move on from. But the way he looked at her, like there was something behind her words he genuinely wanted to understand, it made everything feel heavier, more real. "What do you really do?" she asked. He paused. "I told you. Consulting." She leaned forward. "Come on. I Googled you after I got your text." His eyes narrowed slightly. "And?" "Nothing. There's no Adrian consultant who looks like you." He smiled. "Maybe I like staying invisible." "Too late," she said softly. They both paused. The air between them tightened. Then she asked the question that had been pressing on her mind since the first time they met. "Are you married?" Adrian blinked, caught off guard. "No." "Engaged?" "No." "Divorced?" He hesitated. Just a second. "Almost. Years ago." Ella relaxed into her chair, letting out a breath. "Okay. Just checking." "Background check complete?" he teased. She smiled, then looked at him more seriously. "Not complete. Just cautious." He nodded, understanding. "Fair." They spent the next hour just talking. About nothing and everything. She told him about her childhood in Oregon, how she and her sister grew up drawing cartoons in the living room while their mom worked double shifts as a nurse. He told her about growing up in New York, how he hated boarding school, how silence became his safest space. They talked about art, about coffee, about the idea of love, and whether it should still feel like a mystery in your late 20s. And just when it felt too comfortable, too easy, Adrian's phone buzzed. He looked at it briefly, and then let it face down on the table. Ella noticed. "You don't need to take it?" "I don't want to," he said. "Not right now." She smiled, heart fluttering again, but this time with caution, because deep down, she still didn't know who this man really was. And just then, from outside the cafe window, someone snapped a photo. Neither of them noticed. But across the street, a woman in sunglasses lowered her phone and stared through the glass with narrowed eyes. She zoomed in on Adrian's face, then on Ella's. She typed a message quickly. "Found him. He's not alone." Back inside, Ella reached for her coffee, her fingers brushing against Adrian's. "Sorry," she said, pulling back. He didn't. Their hands lingered for half a second. Then he asked, voice low, "Do you believe people meet for a reason?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But this feels like something I don't want to ignore." Adrian nodded slowly. "Neither do I." He wanted to tell her everything, who he really was, what he really did, why he hadn't opened his heart to anyone in years, not since the headlines, the betrayal, the fiancé who sold his secrets to a rival company. But not yet. Not today. Because something told him. If he told her too soon, he'd lose the one thing that had felt real in years. Ella checked the time and sighed. "I should probably head out. I've got a deadline tonight. Can I see you again?" She hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, I'd like that. As she walked out, Adrian stayed behind, watching her go. She didn't look back, but he hoped that she would. Just before she turned the corner, she paused, then turned and smiled. He smiled back. But across the street, the woman with the phone was already walking away, texting someone else, and the message was short. He's falling for her. Ella had barely made it through the front door when her sister, Mia, looked up from the couch with a suspicious grin. "You're glowing," she said, dropping her phone. "Wait, are you in love?" Ella rolled her eyes. "It was coffee, just coffee." Mia followed her into the kitchen. Coffee with not Alex, right?" Ella turned, trying not to smile. "You remember that?" "Oh, I remember everything," Mia said. "Especially the part where you kissed a stranger and said it felt right. So, was it?" Ella leaned against the counter, trying to answer. But the truth was, she didn't know. It wasn't just the kiss. It was the way Adrian listened, the way he didn't fill silences just to fill them. How he noticed things about her no one else ever did. Like the way she touched the corner of her thumb when she was nervous, or how she never finished her coffee when she was deep in thought. But something about him still felt out of reach. "He's nice," she said. "Different?" Mia raised an eyebrow. "Different how? Like normal different, or this guy might be in witness protection different?" Ella laughed, but deep down, a strange feeling lingered. She thought back to his vague answers, his phone buzzing, the flash of something distant in his eyes whenever the conversation drifted toward the past. "He's just private," she said. "Or hiding something," Mia added, already digging into a bag of chips. Ella didn't respond, but the question stayed with her all night. The next morning, in an office far above the skyline, Adrian stared out the window. His phone was on speaker. "Julian," he said, voice flat, "why do I have a photo of myself with Ella sent to my private inbox?" His head of security cleared his throat. "We were followed, sir. 3 days ago. Someone's watching you again." Adrian closed his eyes. "Who?" "We're still tracing it. Female, mid-30s, unidentified. Could be corporate or personal." There was silence. Then Adrian said, "Make sure Ella's safe. She can't get pulled into this." "You want me to assign her a shadow?" "No. She can't know." Julian hesitated. "If she's with you, she's already a target." Adrian's voice turned ice cold. "I won't let anything happen to her. Just keep your eyes open." After the call ended, he stayed still for a long time. He had spent years building walls. Now he was afraid of what might happen if someone slipped through them. That night, Ella got another text from him. "Dinner this time? I owe you more than coffee. Tomorrow, I'll cook." She stared at the message, her heart skipping a beat. "He cooks?" she replied. "You're not trying to impress me with your secret billionaire chef skills, are you?" He answered almost instantly. "I don't need to be a billionaire to impress you." She stared at the message for a moment, then frowned. He didn't deny it. The next evening, she arrived at his apartment, and the moment the elevator doors opened, her breath caught. It wasn't just an apartment. It was a penthouse, glass walls, open space, modern art on every wall. Everything was minimalist, elegant, expensive, way too expensive for a consultant. He opened the door with a soft smile and an apron. "Okay," she said as she stepped inside. "You have a view of half the city and a kitchen nicer than most five-star restaurants. You are not a consultant." Adrian turned back toward the stove. "I said I consult. I never said on what." She laughed, but the tension was back. Are you going to tell me the truth someday? He paused, then handed her a glass of wine. Let's see if you still want to know me after dinner. They ate pasta he made from scratch, talked about art again, about dreams, about what they would do if fear didn't exist. She said she'd open a children's book studio in a beach town, just her dog, and shelves full of colors. He said he'd disappear for a while, just vanish. No phones, no pressure, just peace. Why don't you? She asked. He looked at her with tired eyes. Because the world won't let me. After dinner, they sat on the couch, quiet again. Not awkward, just close. His hand found hers slowly. She didn't pull away. Can I ask you something? She said, voice barely above a whisper. Anything. Have you ever been in love? He didn't answer right away. Then, once, a long time ago. What happened? He looked at her, and something in his eyes cracked. Just a little. She chose money over me, and I never really forgave her. Ella held his gaze, then said, maybe she chose the wrong kind of money. He smiled. Or maybe I was the wrong kind of man. She turned to him. I don't think so. They sat like that, just the sound of city lights outside and their fingers lightly tangled. And for a moment, neither one had to pretend. But outside, down on the street, a black car sat parked with its lights off. Inside, the same woman from the cafe stared at a photo of Adrian and Ella from dinner. Zoomed in. Cropped. She sent it to a number labeled C. Ramsey. With just one message. You were right. He's hiding something. And she's the key. Ella hadn't been able to sleep. Even after she got home from Adrian's penthouse, after the pasta, the laughter, the subtle touches that felt like confessions, her mind wouldn't rest. It wasn't the kiss they shared just before she left, though that kiss had stayed with her like a warm ache on her lips. It was everything else. The way he dodged her questions, the way his life didn't match his words. She wasn't looking for a perfect man, but she needed a real one. And Adrian. Sometimes he felt like a dream trying too hard not to wake up. That morning, she sat at the kitchen table sipping lukewarm coffee, while Mia scrolled on her phone across from her. You okay? Mia asked. Ella didn't answer right away. Then she said, have you ever met someone who feels too good to be true? Mia looked up. Why? What did he do now? Nothing, Ella whispered. That's the problem. Mia tilted her head. Elle, you don't trust people easily. You never have. But if this guy's a lie, you'd feel it. I do feel it, she said softly. And I don't know if that's the good kind or the bad kind. Meanwhile, across town, Adrian sat at his massive desk in an office lined with glass. But he wasn't working. His laptop was open, emails blinking, but all he could see was her face. Ella, smiling over dinner. Ella, trusting him without knowing the half of it. And Ella, who would probably walk away the second she knew the truth. Julian's voice came through the speakerphone. We traced the woman. Name's Vanessa Hale, former journalist, fired 2 years ago after trying to blackmail a corporate exec. Adrian sighed. And now she's back? She sold a story last month, expose on a CEO's private life. If she's tailing you, it's not for fun. She's not getting to Ella, Adrian said sharply. Then you need to tell her the truth, before someone else does. Adrian closed the laptop. The truth. The very thing he'd built an entire life avoiding. That afternoon, Ella met him again, this time in a quiet bookstore downtown. He was already there, waiting near a corner shelf with 2 coffees in hand. You remembered how I like it, she said, smiling despite herself. I remember everything about you, he replied. But this time, she didn't laugh. Her eyes were serious. "Adrian," she said, "can we talk?" He nodded slowly. "Of course." They sat in the back, among old travel books and quiet echoes, and for a few moments she stared at him like she was memorizing his face, in case this was the last time she saw it. "I don't want to play games," she began. "I don't need money or status or some fantasy, but I do need honesty." He didn't speak, just watched her carefully. "Who are you, really?" she asked. Adrian looked down, then back up, and finally said it out loud. "My full name is Adrian Cole Bennett. I'm the founder and CEO of Bentech, a company that designs encrypted software for global finance and security firms." Ella blinked. "Wait, that Bentech?" He nodded. She stared at him, trying to connect the man in front of her with the name that had appeared in headlines she'd barely paid attention to. Rumors, scandals, power. "And the girl?" she asked softly. "The one who sold you out?" "She was engaged to me, worked with one of my rivals, took everything she learned about my personal life and leaked it to the press. I lost billions overnight." Ella didn't say anything. Her chest tightened. "I've spent the last 4 years pretending I don't feel anything, building my company back, earning silence, not love. Then you walked in." She shook her head, blinking fast. "Why didn't you just tell me?" "Because I didn't want you to look at me like this," he said, "like I'm something different now." Ella stood, heart pounding. "I liked you because you were quiet, because you listened, because you made me feel like I mattered without trying to impress me. That's the man I came back to see." "I am that man," he said quickly. "But I've also made mistakes. I've lied. I've run. I've lost people. I didn't want to lose you, too." She looked away. "I just need to think," she whispered. "Ella, I'm not saying goodbye," she said. "I just need space." She walked out before he could stop her, and this time she didn't turn around. That night, she ignored his texts, and in a hotel room not far from Adrian's penthouse, Vanessa Hale uploaded the photo she'd been saving. Adrian and Ella, at the cafe, at the penthouse, in the bookstore. The story was almost ready, and the headline was already typed. "Secret Billionaire and the Illustrator Girlfriend. What is Adrian Cole really hiding?" Will Ella find out from the tabloids before Adrian gets a second chance to explain? Ella woke up to 38 text messages. Half were from unknown numbers, a few from old college friends she hadn't spoken to in years. Some were just screenshots, but every single one was about the same thing. Her and Adrian, splashed across gossip blogs, tech news outlets, even celebrity rumor pages. Secret Billionaire's new girlfriend revealed. Is illustrator Ella Carter just another pretty face? Sources say she didn't know he was rich, until now. Ella sat frozen in bed, the sheets twisted around her legs like vines she couldn't untangle. Her phone buzzed again, Mia calling this time. "Ella, are you okay?" Her sister's voice came through, sharp with panic. I don't know," Ella whispered. "How did they even find me?" Mia sighed. "You were literally in public with a billionaire, and someone was watching." Ella stood, walking to the window, her hands trembling. "This can't be real." "They've already found your art account. Someone even posted your Etsy store and tagged it Gold Digger Brand." Her stomach dropped. "I didn't ask for any of this," she said, barely getting the words out. "I know," Mia replied gently, "but they don't care about that. People love a story, especially the kind where a girl like you ends up with a guy like him." Ella hung up without another word. She felt sick, humiliated, and angry. At the world, at the internet, but mostly at Adrian. He said he didn't want her to know, that he was afraid she'd treat him differently. But this wasn't fear. This was hiding. And now she was paying for it. Meanwhile, Adrian's office was in chaos. Public relations was calling non-stop. Lawyers were demanding statements. Stockholders were sending panicked emails. But all Adrian could think about was her, Ella. The one person who didn't care about what he owned. The one person who hadn't asked for a thing. And now she was being dragged through the spotlight because of him. Julian stepped into the room. "It was Vanessa Hale," he said. "She sold everything to multiple outlets. She's doing press interviews by tonight." Adrian's jaw clenched. "Damage control? We're handling the legal side, but the narrative's already out." "I don't care about the narrative," Adrian snapped. "I care about her." Julian was quiet for a second. "She hasn't responded to your messages." "I know." "Do you want to go to her?" He paused. "Would it even help?" Julian gave him a look. "Only if you go as the man she met. Not the one the world says you are." That afternoon, Ella was packing up her things, deleting her online portfolio, pulling down her social media, erasing pieces of herself just to breathe again. Then there was a knock on her door. She didn't answer. Another knock, then a voice. "Ella, please." She froze. "Adrian." She didn't move. "I know you're in there," he said softly. "And I know I have no right to ask you for anything right now." Still, she said nothing. "I should have told you the truth from the start. Not because of what I had, but because of what I didn't want to lose. You made me feel human again. And I let fear ruin that." The door opened. Ella stood there, no makeup, hair pulled back, eyes tired and red. He'd never seen her like that, and he'd never seen her more beautiful. "You lied," she said. "I did. You made me feel stupid." "I know. I'm not some charity case or some story you get to rewrite," she said, voice breaking. "I'm a person. I had a life before you. A quiet, good life. I never wanted to take that from you," he said. "But you did," she said, without asking. He nodded, swallowing hard. "I deserve that." They stood there in silence. Then she stepped back and let him in. She didn't offer him tea. She didn't sit down. She just crossed her arms and waited. "I want to fix this," he said. "You can't." "I can try." "You can't buy your way out of this." "I wasn't planning to," he said. "I was hoping I could stay, even if it's just beside you, until the noise dies down." Ella's walls cracked for a second. "I don't know what this is anymore," she said. "Was it even real for you?" He stepped closer, gently. "That kiss? That coffee? The way you made me laugh when I hadn't in years? It was the most real thing I've felt in a decade." She looked up at him. "Then why does it hurt so much?" He didn't answer. Instead, he did something else. He reached into his jacket and handed her a small sketchbook. Her sketchbook. The one she'd left behind at his place. Inside, on the last page, was a drawing. Of him. Of her. Of the corner cafe, window table, 2 cups. And beneath it, a line he'd written in pencil. "I don't believe in fate, but I believe in you." Her eyes blurred with tears, and for the first time in 2 days, she let herself breathe. But the story wasn't over. Because across town, Vanessa Hale sat in a live interview chair, and the host was already asking the question she had planned to drop like a bomb. "So, Vanessa," the anchor said, smiling, "you've hinted at something big. You said Adrian Cole's new girlfriend isn't who people think she is either?" Vanessa grinned. "Oh, it's better than that," she said. because she's hiding something too. Ella stared at the sketchbook in her hands long after Adrian left. The drawing he made, the way he saw her, it was soft, gentle, full of hope. And it only made everything more confusing. She wanted to forgive him. She wanted to believe in that version of their story. But something still held her back. It wasn't just the lies. It was the feeling that they were both pretending this could be simple when nothing about their lives was. She placed the sketchbook on the shelf and turned on the TV, needing the noise. That's when she saw it. Live interview with Vanessa Hale, the woman behind the billionaire's betrayal. She grabbed the remote to change the channel. But then, she heard her name. "And what most people don't know," Vanessa said, her voice slick with fake sympathy, "is that Ella Carter isn't just some random illustrator. She has a history, a messy one." Ella froze. "In fact," Vanessa continued, 5 years ago, she was arrested. Small time, sure, but it's public record." The host blinked. "Wait, are you saying she has a criminal record?" Vanessa smiled. "Juvenile, sealed, but people who live in glass penthouses probably shouldn't throw stones." Ella couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. The memories came rushing back all at once. She was 19, broke, desperate, working 2 jobs to keep the lights on at home. Mia was still in high school. Their mom was in the hospital. Again, insurance wouldn't cover everything. And one day, after months of choosing between groceries and rent, she did something stupid. She stole. Not jewelry, not money. She forged a check from the small art studio she worked at, just enough to get them through. She got caught. She confessed. And because she was young, honest, and had no record before, the charge was reduced and sealed. She spent months paying it back, years carrying the shame. Only Mia knew. Now the world did. Ella shut the TV off and sat on the floor, shaking. How did Vanessa even find that? It was sealed, protected, forgotten. But Vanessa didn't care about truth. She only cared about damage. Halfway across the city, Adrian was watching the same interview. His stomach turned when he heard Ella's name. His hands clenched when he saw Vanessa smile. Julian rushed into the room. "We didn't see this coming." Adrian's voice was low. "She's going after Ella now. She's trying to ruin both of you." Adrian stood up. "I don't care what it costs. I want Vanessa buried. Legally. Publicly." Julian hesitated. "If you come out now, defend Ella in front of the press. They'll drag your name even more. Your board won't stand for it." Adrian looked at him, eyes colder than they'd been in years. "I don't care about the board." He left the office. By the time he got to Ella's place, the sun was already down. The world had seen the interview. Social media was exploding. Her face was trending. Her past, weaponized. He knocked on her door. No answer. He knocked again, harder. Finally, it opened. But not by her. It was Mia. She looked at him with tired eyes. "Now you know." "I don't care," Adrian said. "Where is she?" Mia stepped aside. "Inside, but she's not okay." He walked in slowly. Ella sat on the couch, arms wrapped around her knees, staring at nothing. "Ella," he said gently. She didn't look up. "I saw the interview," he added. "I know." She finally looked at him, and her eyes were full of something he hadn't seen before. Not anger, not pain, shame. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I should be exactly here." "I'm not who you think I am." He kneeled in front of her. "Then tell me." So she did. She told him everything about her mom, the debt, the forgery, the arrest, the guilt. How she promised herself never to need anyone again after that. How she'd spent years building a life that felt quiet and honest, and now All of it was gone. He listened. Every word. When she finished, her voice was raw. And now, the whole world knows. People think I used you, lied to you, that I'm some gold digger with a criminal past. You didn't use me, Adrian said. You saved me. She looked at him, disbelieving. You think you're broken? He said. You made a mistake to protect your family. You paid for it. You moved on. He held her hand gently. I built a fortune, hiding from pain. You built your life surviving it. That's not weakness, Ella. That's strength. Tears filled her eyes. And I don't care what the world says. I care what you say. Ella looked down, her voice barely there. I want to believe you. Then believe me, he whispered. Let's stop running. He pulled out his phone and handed it to her. Read it. It was a press release, not from his team, from him, in his own words, defending her, telling the world what kind of woman she truly was. Not perfect, real, not rich, brave. The kind of woman who didn't need forgiveness from the internet because she had already earned it from herself. Ella stared at the screen, stunned. You'd do this? For me? I'd do anything, he said, but especially this. They sat there in silence for a long time. This time she leaned into him. No fear, no pretending. Just quiet, fragile love growing in a place where shame used to live. But in a quiet corner of the internet, Vanessa's next story was already scheduled. And this time she wasn't alone, because someone else had taken interest in Adrian and Ella's story. A name no one had heard in years, but one that Adrian would never forget. Chloe Ramsey, his ex-fiancée, the one who betrayed him. And now, she was back. The press release went live at 7:02 a.m. By 7:08, Adrian's phone was flooded. Board members, investors, PR teams, all of them in a frenzy. But he didn't care, because Ella had woken up in his arms, and for the first time in what felt like years, that was the only headline that mattered. The post was short, honest, no damage control, no fake spin. Adrian had written, I have nothing to hide. Ella Carter is not a secret. She's someone who walked into my life when I didn't believe in second chances. She made a mistake when she was 19. I've made 100 since. But she is kind, strong, and brave. She owes no one an apology, least of all me. So, if the world wants to talk, let them talk. I'm done hiding. The internet didn't know what to do with honesty. Some people still judged. Others admired. But the tone shifted, from mockery to something else. Respect. Adrian didn't care about trending, or headlines, or the dip in his company's stock that morning. He cared about the woman sitting across from him now, sipping her coffee in one of his oversized sweaters, barefoot on his kitchen floor. She looked at peace for the first time in days. I think I just got 20 Etsy orders in an hour, she said, laughing in disbelief. Apparently, the internet forgives faster than I do. He smiled. Is that your way of saying I'm still in trouble? Oh, absolutely, she teased, but less than yesterday. He walked over, kissed the top of her head. They didn't need to define what they were. They already knew. But peace is a fragile thing, and it didn't last long. Later that afternoon, Adrian's assistant stormed into his office with wide eyes. She's here, she said. Who? The name came out like ice. Chloe Ramsey. Adrian's jaw tensed. Ella, sitting across the room sketching in silence, looked up. She said she wants 5 minutes to explain. Adrian hesitated. Ella stood. Take it. You don't have to leave. I know, she said. But I want you to face it, finally. He gave her a look, grateful, nervous, unsure. Then Chloe walked in, still poised, still beautiful, but thinner, older. Her smile was hollow, and her confidence carried the weight of guilt. She sat down without asking. "You've looked better," Adrian said quietly. "So have you," she replied. "But you're still rich, so who really wins, right?" He didn't flinch. "Say what you came to say." Chloe sighed. "I didn't come to destroy your life again, if that's what you're thinking. Vanessa came to me, offered me a cut to help her write a follow-up story. You agreed?" "I said no," Chloe said, surprising him. "Turns out, betrayal doesn't pay twice." He raised an eyebrow. "So, what do you want?" "To apologize," she said, voice flat. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I wasn't trying to ruin you. Back then, I was scared. You were building an empire. I felt like a placeholder." "That's not an excuse." "I know," she said, eyes glistening. "And I've paid for it every day since. Trust me." He looked at her for a long moment, and then, to her shock, said, "I forgive you." Chloe blinked. "Not for you," he added. "For me." She nodded slowly, tears slipping down her cheeks. Then she left. And when she was gone, Ella walked back in. She didn't ask what was said. She didn't need to. Instead, she held out a small notebook to him. "What's this?" he asked. "A pitch," she said, "for a new book." He opened it. Inside, sketches. Of a man in a white shirt by a cafe window. Of a kiss. Of a second chance. And at the bottom, in soft lettering, "Wrong kiss, right heart." He looked at her. "You wrote our story?" She smiled. "No. We're writing it." He pulled her close, and for the first time since the day she kissed a stranger, there was nothing left to hide. Not money, not pasts, not pain, just two people who found each other. Not by accident, but by choice. Love exposed, and still worth choosing. The end. What do you believe? Is love something that finds us by fate? Or do we have to choose it, even when it's messy? Let's talk about it in the comments. See you there.